Hi there, it's Tim with Far North Magic. Today we're going to be looking at part 7 of cards that I think might get reprinted in the Commander Masters set coming up. And we are going to be looking at the early modern sets of Mirrodin through Dissension. So the first 3 blocks that started off with the frame change, and see where we go and what we can find. So first off, we're going to look at Mirrodin, and we are going to see that Chromox is still the most expensive card. And I, in a way, wouldn't be surprised if they included it. I think that they gotta hold back some stuff, but I also don't know how much they'll hold back based on what they did with like Double Masters last year. They loaded it pretty well, and Chromox did get a reprint in the Advent Calendar Secret Lair, but before that it was Double Masters Original from 2020. And I'm also kind of surprised it's kept such a high price. Like, I don't remember it being this high a price like a few reprints ago. So, I still think it could get hit. We got Chalice of the Void. I would think that would be potentially hit. It was like in Time Spiral Remastered last, I'm pretty sure. But it might be too much of a constructed card. Got Extra Planar Lens and Tooth and Nail next. Those two I could see getting hit. The Vidalcan Archmage also could. Even Isochron Scepter type level of cards I would see that would get hit. I don't know why War Elemental is so much, or even Sword of Caldera, realistically. They seem expensive to me. I know that they haven't really got reprinted. They haven't got reprinted, but it still just seems like I don't remember why they're as much as they are. Lightning Greaves, 100% I would expect to be in the set. As I said, I think before, I wouldn't be surprised if Talismans make it. Even like Gilded Lotus or something, from because that's like a old time commander card. Fabricate could also be a good inclusion. Something like Mind's Eye could be a good old time inclusion. I don't know how they're gonna determine, like, they're gonna have to put cards in that aren't good anymore, that were commander staples. Like, I could see Solemn for sure. Even like the artifact lands might get hit. I feel that they hold like a better value than I would expect. Next up is Darksteel, and I found it interesting with a couple of the choices for swords that they picked for the box toppers for Lord of the Rings. Like, they picked the Sword of Hearth and Home from Horizons 2, and like Sword of the Animist, and they picked Shadow Spear. Like, I wouldn't have ever expected them to put all the swords in, but it is kind of telling that they didn't put like Fire and Ice or Feast and Famine in, because those two are like the best swords. Even though like Feast and Famine's probably highly considered much better than Fire and Ice. Kind of almost think Fire and Ice is overrated at this point. Though I don't know if they'll put the swords in this set, because it's hard for me to tell if they'll like want to do all the swords in the same set, because that's a lot of mythic slots that they'd be tying up, or if they'll just like break them up. So Micah's Thin Lattice, I could see getting reprinted. Darksteel Forge for sure, because that's pretty much only a commander card, and I'm surprised it's kind of rebounded so much. Like, sure, it hasn't got reprinted in a while. Like, last time was in a core set that nobody really, like, people didn't buy it that much, but it's still a card that bounces back fairly well. Now, when is the reprint that like really beats it down to the point where it's not going to be worth anything? I don't know if Mirror Matrix would have hit the radar for being a valuable card. Savage Beating, I could easily see if they want to have like effects that do extra combats, which they seem to be slowly catching up to getting them reprinted at least once. Darksteel Reactor or Memnarch. I don't know if they'll bother with the Vial. I would hope that they'd leave it alone. At under $10 is like very jarring. Skull Clamp, I would expect, just to get extra reprints out there, extra variants and foils, because there isn't a lot of foils. Like, the last foil was like the Warhammer Premium decks, which, although they got like an extra, like there is some extra new supply, they were very limited overall. And then I think when was the last time before that? It was quite a while. We got Whisper Silk Cloak. Even Genesis Chamber would be a nice reprint. Not that it's hugely expensive, but like, I wouldn't have thought it would bounce back from the Battle Bond reprint. Yeah, I don't know. Some of these cards are just kind of $2-3, like $2-3, but like, I don't know if they'll ever really. They don't really need a reprint, I don't think. But maybe they'll get caught as a reprint. But next up, we're going to look at the Fifth Dawn. The Fifth Dawn has some decent uncommons that I would hope that will get reprinted at some point in a meaningful way. So, like KCI. I don't know if they'll reprint Crucible of Worlds. Like, it still seems pretty cheap compared to, like, historically what it ends up being when they normally look to reprint it. It's usually like $40-50. Being in the 20s is like pretty reasonable for it. Mythos and Golem would be something interesting to get reprinted. I don't know if Engineer Explosives would get hit. Doubling Cube got hit in a secret lair, but it still might get hit. You got like Steel Shaper's Gift. That might be, like, that one should get hit, because like, I don't know how constructed playable it is, but it is still a pretty solid card. And it's still like pretty crazy to be like $15 for uncommon. Grinding Station as well is pretty expensive for an uncommon. Paradise Mantle would be a good reprint as well. Like, I guess just the station. Beacon of, like, the beacons might even get caught. I don't know. I wouldn't think they'd really need to, because like it's only like really the Beacon of Creation and Beacon of Immortality that are worth anything, I think. Well, I guess Beacon of Tomorrows is still something, but Magnetic Thief might be something. And like Night's Whisper also. Like Night's Whisper for non-foil has been getting hit pretty good. Like it's been in a few different commander sets. So now like it's getting cheaper and cheaper, but it would still be a card that I think would be a decent one to hit. Maybe they'll hit Relentless Rats. They were using it as a festival in a box promo. Dead giveaway that they're going to make it another reprint. So then next up is Champions of Kamigawa. The Kamigawa block, from when I remember, was not very well loved, and that's part of the reason why some of the cards are worth a lot more than. It's also partly because there's a lot of legends and a lot of cards that interact with legends. So, like, it was heavily considered very bad at the time originally. But that also is probably because you had people fleeing the game because Mirrodin block was just crazy. And then, like, you go to this, and it's, like, kind of like Marcadian Mask type thing where, like, just the power levels are just so jarring. Like, you're like super way overpowered, and then you're like playing with like all these cards that don't make any sense with the prior cards. So we got Mirrodin as the top card right now, which I would think that would get hit if there's any like rats, because you kind of need rats to make it viable card. Not that that stopped them from putting like random cards in master sets without much usefulness. Like they put in I forget the stupid aura that you need another aura to attach before you can attach it, and then there was no other auras that were positive in one of the master sets, and it's like, oh, why? I know that card needs to be reprinted, but come on, man. Minamo School at Water's Edge is a reprint in the box toppers for Lord of the Rings, so that's taken care of. So I don't know if they'll. I'm figuring the reprints for the box toppers get excluded, though I really didn't think that they were going to go as hard on the box toppers as they kind of did. So then, I don't know. To me, I would think the box toppers would exclude them from being in Commander Masters, just because the sets are so close. And, like, are you going to want to have the feel bads of, like, a box topper going from, like, a solid, I don't know, maybe $15 card down to like $5? I don't know. Maybe they do. I just wouldn't push it. Although, like, they did put like Cavern and Ancient Tomb and a couple others that were like cards I wasn't thinking they were gonna put in. You got Kakusho, the Evening Star. I could see that one being reprinted, as it's held a very solid price still. Sizen, I don't see being reprinted, as it got a Jumpstart and Multiverse Legends. So I think that would get skipped. Beseiju was a Lord of the Rings reprint for box topper. Glimpse of Nature might be a good reprint. Shizo Death Storehouse was in Dominaria United Commander. Nature's Will would be another good reprint. I don't know if they'll reprint Azusa. Maybe. Like, they seem to hit her pretty hard. They hit Kiki Jiki pretty hard. Sinka, the Blood Soak Keep. I'm pretty sure that was a Lord of the Rings box topper. Also, Ganjo Castle, I'm pretty sure it's box topper. Also, so I think those would get skipped. Conder's Bander, even Conda. There are a good number of like cards that are like more than $5 that really could just get jammed in and then become like $1. So like some of these like Myojins, the Zozu, like they're worth something, but like I don't know. I could see Ghostly Prison for sure. I'll just get more copies out there. They've been reprinting Ghostly Prison quite a bit, even with like even propaganda quite like at least once a year, which I think is like a solid amount. Like sure, with 20 million commander decks, you're not getting the same amount of copies out there across like your number of commander deck sales if there was only 4 or 5 decks, but I still think like the amount they're printing a lot of these decks, there's kind of a lot of copies out there, so it is kind of like interesting to see how like some of these cards are holding up. Time of Need would be a card that would be an interesting reprint because it's a solid, like I'm pretty sure it's a search for legendary. It's always held a okay enough price. Kadama's Reach would be a solid well, I assume Kadama's Reach is in. I assume Cultivate. I assume all the like staples they reprint in every commander deck. I assume like Tribelder also, like so. Next up is Betrayers of Kamigawa. This was a set that had not a whole lot of value back in the day. It had like a Jit and like Ink Eyes, but and you could get the Jit from a pre-con deck. Oh jeez. Anyone who was wise to that made out like a bandit. So you got Ink Eyes as the most valuable card. They're hitting Jit with I think a Secret Lair reprint. I don't know. Maybe they'll hit Goryo's Vengeance. Maybe they'll hit the Shining Shoal. Though Shining Shoal wasn't worth a whole lot again until it was getting used again, so maybe it will get ignored. Throat Slitter. I don't know if they'll reprint that card. Some people think that that's kind of on the blacklist, but it is pretty like valuable and common. It's always seemed to be like it was always a pick back in the day, at the very least. Tendo Ice Bridge. Yeah, then you just get kind of, I don't know, maybe like Walker, like maybe the cheaper ninjas, if they put any ninjas in, maybe they'd put the Yuriko, the what is it, Stalking Tiger, in as a commander, and then put all the like ninja D-powers and everyone in, but I don't know, Hero's Demise might make it just because it deals with legends. Not that it's like really good, because it's only like $1. Next up is Saviors of Kamigawa, a set that was like really, really bad back in the day. Holy cow. It was Pithing Needle or Twin Cast. They were like $20 cards. It made no sense. But And then we got Ouroboros, Palace in the Clouds as the top card, and that's going to be Lord of the Rings box topper. So I suspect that the new copies are going to be like very, very cheap compared to $60. And I also would think that it would get skipped. Mirror in the Moaning Well, that might get hit. Reki might get hit. Sakushima, the Imposter, I'm happy to see that so cheap. Maybe I'll go get a copy, because I got rid of every one I had when they were $40. Because I'm like, this can't hold. Like, if it gets reprinted anywhere, it's going to go down. I got hit a couple times. I don't know, maybe... I don't see them reprinting Pithing Needle. There's like a ton of them. Locust Miser might get hit. Something like Footsteps of Goryeo. I could see something like Miko Koro getting hit, just because really don't have a lot of foils, but it could be like one of those cards where like people have like, I always look at Miko Koro and think of it as a good card, even though there's like copies of it in Commander decks, and I think it, like those copies are only like $2. Freed from the Real would be a good reprint, because I might have got hit in a secret lair, but yeah, should probably get hit again. Maybe the Tribe Scout, put some lands into play. Yeah, I don't know. Kami of the Crescent Moon. Not that it's worth anything anymore. Moving on to Ravnica. Ravnica's got some big hits still. But I guess it depends if I think that they're going to put fetches in or shocks. I think they're going to put the allied fetches in and give shocks a break, and then next year shocks get put in. And I wonder if they'll do like a Pioneer Masters, and then they could do shocks in that type thing. We got Cloudstone Curio, and that's in the box toppers for Lord of the Rings. Doubling season, I like pretty much expect. Now, I don't know how many of these doubling effect cards they're going to put in, because they have doubling season to hit, primal vigor to hit, and parallel lives. And they really should hit parallel lives for sure. Doubling season would make sense because it's been a few years. It was like Double Masters original, so it's like 3 years. So I would think that would maybe get another year reprieve, but under the normal setup. But since they're accelerating, they seem to be pushing things to be like instead of 4 years, like 3 year. I could see doubling season get hit for sure. I would expect it to be there, and then if they put just say parallel lives and primal vigor in instead, I wouldn't be surprised if they left it off. But I kind of expect like 2 of those 3 to be in. Dark Confidant, I don't know. I think they'd leave it off. Court of Calling, I could see them reprinting that. Copy Enchantment hasn't got hit yet. Now, the Copy Enchantment or the I forgot if it's Astrid's Invocation or Astrid's. There's a copy spell, a copy card in the Bant 2018 deck. I would expect one of the two, because they're very similar, if I remember correctly. Um, I could see them putting in some of these cards like Mind Leech Mass, like Breath of Fury. They're not going to hold their prices like Pariah Shield and uh, the Worm, the Auto Cryothic Worm. I don't see those holding their prices. I could see them jamming them in and then people being like all excited and like coming up with wild like EVs for like 500 like $600, $700, $800 EVs for boxes, and then like when you factor those cards from instead of $5 down to like where they're gonna end up being like $1 or 50 cents, then like the box becomes normal. So I could see like a lot of stuff like that getting dumped in as like the lower end rares. Congregation at Dawn definitely would be interesting to get reprinted. Same with Muddle the Mixture, even though Muddle is getting a secret lair. Although, like, I wouldn't be surprised if they do the back-to-back. Because it's not the key card in that secret lair. I still have to do the values on that. Yeah, they've done a good job of like getting privileged position and like glimpse the unthinkable and stuff down in value, in price. I mean, maybe Perilous Forays would get reprinted. Like it's interesting how the values have all like shifted around. So like some stuff that was worth money is now cheaper. And it's not as like exact with an old set like this, but on like on certain newer things or commander decks, you can see the value just like moving around more when something gets reprinted or banned. What is going on here? Okay. And then we're into Guild Pack next. Yeah, so shocks are going to be your highest cards. There are cheaper versions of these in like the RTR block or the Guilds of Ravnica block. The originals have always held a premium, but I also don't think that's going to be forever. Like, I think they're going to just get really close together compared to, like, there was, like, massive premiums on some of the older ones before. Could see Shattering Spree get reprinted, even though that's more of a constructed card. Ghost Away. Leyline of the Void. Yeah, it drops off pretty bad in Guild Pack. Yeah. They've hit some of these guys pretty hard. And then some of them have just dropped off because they've got outclassed. So that is part of the thing. Like, it's not only reprints that destroy the value of cards, it's just being outclassed by significantly better cards. Next up is Dissension. So you got your shocks as the best cards. Again, I don't know if they'll reprint the shocks. I would think that they'd hold back the shocks and that they'd just reprint the fetches, because that would make more sense to me. But I think they would draw more people chasing, and also like there's kind of a lot of shocks I would think floating around from the newer versions. I don't know how Crime and Punishment is worth so much, but I am definitely gonna look to try and find a way to get rid of any extra copies I have. Because $14 seems ridiculous. Majorite Stone also is a card that's held value for a little while. I would think that I would be looking to just get rid of. For me personally, I'm going to look to try and get rid of any extra copies. I'm probably going to keep one copy and move on, and then probably forget to replace them later. It's the problem. Protein Hulk. Maybe, I think the last time it got hit was like Anniversary 25 or Masters 25. Don't know how you want to call that one. That was a disappointing set, but Infernal Tutor, not really good card in Commander, so I think it would get skipped. It's not really worth a whole lot either. If there's a rat theme, Ratcatcher, I could see getting hit. Void Slime, maybe Void Slime would get hit. That would be a card that probably could get hit, and it would go down pretty hard, but very flexible counterspell if you can pay the specific mana cost. War's Toll, I really thought that was going to be just stay as a bulk rare again, but I guess I underestimated it. The Cytoplast Manipulator, maybe, if there's any like 1/1 counter themes, I guess. Grand Arbiter, Augustine the Fourth. It's not worth a whole lot, but compared to what it used to be like $20. 5 is a lot more reasonable. Utopia Sprawl, definitely could see it getting hit. The last time was in the Aura of Courage deck from the AFR series. I think it was in like the Masters 25 before that, so could get hit again, I guess. And kind of into that like area where nobody cares about a lot of these cards that much. They hold value just because they're older. Maybe Spell Snare gets hit, or Ghost Quarter I could see easily. Yeah, just is what it is with those, and yeah. I guess my question is, what do you think would be the most likely card to get reprinted out of this grouping of sets? And I'd like to know, and I hope you have a good rest of your day. I hope you take care, and I hope to see you next time.